Hello, it's Gareth here, and we're on our last point of our four-part series on the four C's, and we looked at courage and conscience and compassion, and now we're on character, which is your inner bank account. So we're looking at that one today. So I want to start with a story like I always do. I just want to tell you about a story when I went to the Philippines with a bunch of young people from a church. And we went to one of the poorest areas, the slums of Manila, and helped with food programs and youth programs, that sort of stuff, with the church on Sunday. But what I really noticed was that they were so happy. And I remember at the time I was working with some young people that were what we would class as a poor area. But these young people were far, far poorer. They didn't have enough food and they didn't have a proper roof over their head. They were living in slums, but they were far, far happier. And it just made me think, happiness doesn't consist in the amount of things that we possess. So it's the condition of our heart and the condition of our character is where it's at. So I want to look at that kind of area there and press down a little bit. There's a quote from this book that says, money is an acceptable servant, but a terrible tyrant as a master. And the Bible verse for that is, clarify a little bit, is in 1 Timothy 6:10. It says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And some people craving money have wandered from the true faith, and pierced themselves with many sorrows. So the love of money is the root of all kinds of difficulties and kinds of evil, So we're looking at money as a servant, but not a master. So then what are we looking at? So we're looking at character. So I was trying to think, and I put on a Facebook group about people's favourite characters. Some interesting ones come up I've never heard of. And also some you have heard of, like Indiana Jones and perhaps Darth Vader. You've got heroes and anti-heroes, that sort of thing. The one that keeps coming to my mind is the Rocky Balboa story, the boxer. But the thing about Rocky was, it wasn't that he always won, but he didn't give up. He just didn't give up. He had that dogged character. Kind of an English thing that we really love is the underdog who doesn't give up and keeps going. That's why we like the FA Cup and things like that if you're into football. But there's a quote which summarises quite well from the film that Sylvester Stallone played in, So it says, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you're hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forwards. How much you can take and keep moving forwards. That's how winning is done. So he said it a lot better than I am, but there you go, he's an actor. So, but that is how winning is done. Is a winner. I think the definition of a champion isn't someone who always wins. It's someone who doesn't give up and keeps going and does their best. So let's all be champions, not giving up, not giving in. So we're going to look at so character development. So some of the characters we're looking at, obviously, from films that we can relate to, but also let's look at Jesus's character. He had different sort of ways of looking at things that we would look at things sometimes. That he didn't give up and he didn't give in, and he kept on moving forwards, but he never gave up until he accomplished what he'd come to do, which ultimately was dying on the cross. And he was beaten and he went through those hardships, and that's a real, you need real development of your character to be able to withstand them insults. I mean, let's just go on the insults for starters. If we're insulted, someone calls us a name, we're on social media going on about it to everyone and attacking them and that sort of thing. But Jesus was the Son of the living God. He is God incarnate. God of all of the universe, and these mere mortals, if you like, were insulting him on the cross. And he could have asked, it says in the Bible, he could have asked legions of angels to come and just destroy the world, and that's not just a kind of a bluff or whatever. That's genuinely what he could have done, but he didn't do that. He held that strength, and by dying on the cross, a kind of a jiu-jitsu move where he took all of what hell and death could throw at him, and he used its strength against him and rose from the dead and had victory over Satan. And I think, if you didn't know anything about the Bible story, you would really be a challenge to see how that's all going to pan out. But Jesus is the ultimate character we can look at to try and seeing in him as a blueprint and being more like him by the power of the Holy Spirit for the glory of God. So let's develop our character, and then we can hold rightly some of these other things we've talked about, including money. So think about that today. Bless you. Have a great day.